by Riverside.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the music. You know what time it is. It's 4th and 1 podcast with, of course, your boy Simeon Schlicker, Captain Morbis, as well next to Captain Fatty, and the Duke Man. It's a 4th and 1 podcast live on Anchor.fm and where you find everything, as well as Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. Micaiah, it is week 0. This is try 2 of this podcast because, sorry, Dad, damn it. If we're not going to do it right this time, okay? Also, sorry, Mom, I guess. But
F it. We'll do it live.
F it, we'll do it live. So, we're excited. It's week 0. Week 0 is a new college football tradition, probably not that new, where a bunch of random-ass teams play each other. Really, everything starts next week. It's just how the schedules.
It's a soft open, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's a soft
it's college
open.
Football's soft open. Now, we are 3 days away. I'm going to do my speech again, if you don't mind.
Sure,
that I
go
didn't
for
try
it.
one. All right, we are 4 days away. We will, at the time of the recording, we will be less than 24 hours away when you guys hear this Friday morning. We are pumped. We are excited. It's week 0 of college football. Let's get it, son! We will have college football on our television screens from this Saturday at noon Eastern until the national championship game, the second Monday in January, whatever day that falls on. I am pumped. Let's go!
So, as you can tell, Micaiah, how do I put this? Basically disappears from the face of the earth every Saturday for about 3 months. And today we're going to kind of explain to you why. We're excited, to be honest with you. I'm going to watch a Thursday night game next week, which we hopefully will be able to preview. But instead of that game, a little teaser for next week. Come back next week for week 1 and a full slate of games. Let's take him through week 0 and the biggest game that we will be watching, which is apparently in Dublin, which I didn't know until Micaiah started this podcast. But we're talking Nebraska at Northwestern under the lights in the city of Guinness.
Yeah, it's the biggest game for the weekend. Although in try number 1, you asked me a really good question without being analytical. Why am I excited for, this game? And I'll tell people the same answers I told them last time. I'm very excited for this game. Simply put, it's the new start of the college football season. It's as easy as that. So I'm very excited about it. However, as it pertains to the physical game itself, I'm anxious to see whether or not Nebraska can actually be a viable team or not this year. So, yes, but Nebraska Northwestern in Dublin, 12:30 Eastern.
And I did the quick
Fox.
math. Yeah, I did the quick math. That's Fox's big noon kickoff. I'm assuming that means it's going to be my third favorite, your second favorite commentators. Go listen last week and the clip if you didn't see it. Apparently, I can't find this anywhere. According to FanDuel, Wyoming and Illinois are playing?
Yes, they are. They are playing.
Oh, there they are. I couldn't find them.
At 4 p.m. Big Ten Network, which is very interesting because right now they have Illinois at a 10.5-point favorite only to Wyoming. Only a 10.5-point favorite.
You think it should be lower, right?
I don't know if it should be lower, but are we I think that they're undervaluing Illinois a little bit.
Or are they? Well, now we have to look at Wyoming's last season, Micaiah. I was going to ask you what seems more interesting of a game to you.
Okay.
Illinois at Wyoming or UConn at Utah State?
Well, okay. Well, we both have an infatuation with UConn because, it's UConn and they are so UConn-y. However, I would say the better game is going to be Illinois at Wyoming or Wyoming at Illinois.
Yeah, I'm trying to find last season's results. Oh, that I just cracked my ankle and it feels so good. I'm hoping
You're having
with some
internet issues over there, bud.
Am I chunking again?
No, you're not. No, you're not chunking. I just have a message where your video's supposed to be that says recording continues smoothly. Live video will return when their internet improves.
Yeah, here's the deal. We're going to go on a technological tangent here.
Okay.
My motherboard is what they call in the business le shit.
Oh, okay.
And that means that it's really bad. So sometimes all the parts around it, except for my Wi-Fi, are really good. And if I had like a 100-foot Ethernet cable, which I'm this close to buying, I would just run hardline into it. But I have to go on Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi speeds range from anywhere in the megabyte to the kilobyte range, and you don't want kilobytes. So
Sure. Oh,
So-
wait, and now you're back again.
See?
So,
But as
listen,
long as I'm not chunking and you can hear me,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Because the fans
let's
are going to
just-
see my beautiful face. Honestly, with this shirt and this hat, my eyes look really good right now because unlike you, they can see my eyes. Okay, so Wyoming last year,
they can't see my eyes.
Wyoming last year went 6-7 overall and 2-6 in the conference.
Yeah, so I think that this is more people undervaluing Illinois than they are overvaluing Wyoming.
Okay, so Illinois last year was not also spectacular, to be fair.
Correct, especially at the beginning of the season. They got better towards the end of the season, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up their...
Everyone remembers the 9 overtime games, which isn't really 9 overtimes because you go for 2. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The game at Penn State.
I forgot they lost to UTSA.
Your in-laws are very familiar with that game.
I watched the 9 overtime game. First of all, Illinois went 5-7 last year, which was a pretty big turnaround for them. Didn't they lose Mike Hart last year? Or is that Indiana?
Okay, so, that was Indiana. Mike Hart is now the assistant coach at Michigan.
I know this. That's why I was
okay.
asking.
Oh,
So
I see.
I
Yes.
know they got their coach back from a stint down in the SEC. He returned
Brett
to Illinois.
Bielema.
Brett
Yes.
Bielema. Just
Bielema.
butchered that. Yep, thanks.
Bielema.
Short? Uh-huh. Cool.
Uh-huh.
A white man!
So 5-7. So I think you're right, and I'm just going to skip here. I think they're right. I think you're right. They're under. I don't think 10. I think 10.5 is still a little high. I think it's more of like a 7-point game. Also, why do we have? Why is football scored in 6 points and not 1, and then an extra half point for a kick? It's like that's the whole overtime thing. It's really just possession. It should be called like it should be more like at a certain point you should have like your advantage and advantage in like tennis, and then like your first and your second overtime, kind of like in. Well, it's actually more like soccer. I keep comparing it. I'm sorry, but it's too good of a comparison. I keep comparing the NCAA to soccer, and it's kind of like when you're for a championship games, you get if you're tied into the second. Sorry, after 90 minutes on your extra time, then you go into 2 15-minute halves. So you play another half hour. And if you're still tied at the end of that, then you go into shootouts. And then, which is basically exactly what college football does. So why are we making fun of quote-unquote high scoring? Yes, I'm quoting a TikTok that our sister sent us. She doesn't listen to this podcast, so she won't be able to get credit for it.
Correct.
No one tell her. For the record, no one tell her. She has to die with this.
Dad?
Mom, Dad,
Robert? Those are the only people that listen.
Also, thanks, shout out. 20 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know how
Yes.
many of you are subscribed on other platforms because Yeah, I'm just lazy. So thank you guys so much for subscribing. This really is brought to you by you. Obviously, we have no ads. We don't shove anything down your throat. If you wanted to support us, you can. Anchor.fm/4th and 1 is that. So, Illinois, you're taking Illinois plus the points or minus the points, since we're going to have that. I'm trying to pull up their...
All right, so we're going to just jump right into Illinois. That's fine.
Well, we were just talking. I'm wrapping up Illinois.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're plus 10 and they're minus 10.5 points.
Well, let me see. Let me go in there. Sorry, I'm logging into FanDuel.
I'm telling you. Do you want me to just share my screen?
Oh, no. What's the over-under?
Over-under is 43.
I don't know. See, Illinois, again, I don't know them enough. So I'm going to take the over-under being 43. I'm going to take the over on that. Why are we laughing?
Because I looked down. Is Connecticut, Utah State under yours as well?
Yeah.
Under your FanDuel?
Uh-huh.
Shout out to FanDuel. Please sponsor us. Plus 27.5 points.
Yeah.
Underdog to Utah State. Yo, the bidders do not care. Guys, they are plus 1,800 on the money line, which means if you were to put $1 in, you would get $1,800 if they were to win.
$18.
They would get $18 if you were to win.
First of all, I would take Utah State minus the points there. Didn't you say, and I learned this from last week's podcast because I actually listened to the podcast I'm not a part of, unlike yourself.
Yeah, I should have.
Didn't you say last week that UConn, their defensive coordinator, had to step away?
Yeah, due to personal issues.
Yeah, and Utah State, listen, they're not world beaters, but it's UConn. And so I'm going to, Utah State minus the 27.5, probably a pretty good bet. However, Wyoming at Illinois, I'm going to take the over of minus 43.5.
So you're the over of minus 43. So he's taking the over. You're taking Illinois to win?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, this is how Simeon makes you money every week.
Well, so am I taking Illinois to win to make the people money, or am I just taking Illinois to win?
I'm glad you asked, Micaiah, because now you set up a perfectly good segment. Today's segment, I don't have a cool music sound for you, so you just get da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's now time for Simeon Makes You Money by having you spend as little as possible. This is the part of the show where Larry comes out and sings a silly song. Sorry, had to make a VeggieTales reference in there for the OGs. This is a part of the show where Simeon, every week, bets on every single game and puts a parlay bet together.
You're never going to win this.
You know what? I spend so little money that I don't care.
Okay. You're just never going to win it. But
you understand. Okay, so let me just, for the kicks and giggles, I can't remove all selections. So I'm putting this is going to be like a 5-game parlay for this week. Sorry, it's a 6-leg parlay. It's at plus, just with the ones that I picked, it's at plus $24,583, which means
if all the teams win.
If all the teams win outright, which means for $1, I would win $245.83.
So, and how many games is this on? 6?
7.
7. So why don't you just pick 7 games each week and do this?
Because it's more fun to pick every single game, FBS game, that's available. Because, you know what this means? I'm interested during the day. I'm interested in every single game and its outcome, which means I pay more attention, which means the next podcast, I know more shit.
Oh, okay. So fair enough. First of all, sorry, Dad.
And
Second,
Mom, okay, hold up, real quick. Hold that, put a pin in that. Mom has yelled at us for a very long time about our swearing. So we do have to respect our mother. Just we're less scared of you than Dad.
Yeah, well, and I think we both kind of noticed that on that one episode, we both kind of went a little overboard.
Yeah,
you were all fired up, and then you always get me fired up. And
I
then...
have bad days sometimes, and I get super sweary.
Okay. So, are we moving on?
Yeah, go with the pull the pin out, play it.
And what was the pin in again?
I don't know.
Oh, yes. What you should do is you got to pay close attention because you might be able to cash out. Like, say
100%.
if you bet on whatever,
if
and
I
your
get
first 15 games hit, you probably can cash out for still like $2,000.
Yeah, because mind you, normally I'm betting on like at least 24 to like 40 games in a parlay. I don't know what my record was last year of like numbers of games. Like I had to split it into 2 parlays one week. That's how many games I bet on. So some of the numbers were like $48,000 off of $1. I kid you not.
Okay, sure.
And so you have to pay attention because if you get up to $2,000, see ya, cash out. Easiest $2,000 I've ever made.
Right.
And that's just me. But I'm paying attention, right? Because I would pay attention to the rest of those games. And of course, normally what would happen is this would totally be God laughing. This isn't odds. This isn't anything other than God laughing. The rest of the games would hit too. So I'd have cashed out at $2,000 when I could have, hit.
And you could have won $43,000. So back to my original question.
Yeah. So we do all 3 major I make you choose all 3 major betting. When I ask you about a game, and I know this is news to you because this is a little bit different than how we did it last. I'm going to ask you who's going to win it because that's, at the end of the day, as fans, that's what we care about. We don't care if they win by 1 or 45.
Okay.
Then I'm going to ask you over-under because that makes us think about, hey, how
many
prolific
points
is their defense? How prolific is their offense? Do we think they're going to be able to run or throw the ball? Then I'm going to ask you about the spread, okay? How many points do you think the team is going to win by? Which lets you know which team is going to be carrying that over-under more. Who you think is going to be more explosive. So at the end of the day, all 3 major betting things come off of a very analytical decision that I'm asking you to make. And that's why I want you to go through it. So first of all, we're right now discussing Kentucky.
Can I have a follow-up question about what you just explained to me that's brand new to me?
Yeah, 100%.
Is there going to be a 4th question of then what I'm going to bet? That's going to, you know how we kept track of my betting record last year?
Yeah.
No one cares!
Are we going to do that again or no?
Well, no, because at the end of the day, what you're telling us is probably going to be what your bet, right? So you're saying take Utah minus the points, right, in the Utah game at Kentucky?
Yeah.
Are you going to make that bet?
Am I going to make that? You know what? Yeah, I am going to make that bet.
I'm not saying like if you want to. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. You're going to be like, these are like my 5 bets that I'm going to make this week.
Yes, correct. As I did last year.
That would be like a different segment. This is like we're breaking down the games for Simeon and to make his ludicrous bets, and then we'll actually do real content that actually matters later on in the podcast.
And that'll be my bet.
And that will be your bet. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing
so
that
what are we
actually
doing?
Make money. Yeah, that would be.
So what are we doing right now? Are we doing ludicrous Simeon or are we doing serious Micaiah?
We're doing ludicrous Simeon.
Okay.
Because I want you to break down the games that are happening for us.
Got it. Okay.
You riding now?
I'm catching up. I'm a little slow.
Man,
that's all right.
I'm trying.
I'm not trying at all. And we're the Worstest Podcast on the interwebs, people. On Instagram, 4th and 1
That was a rough plug, my guy.
Well, you know what? You're a rough plug.
Wow. That's pretty racist, but correct.
All right, so what game are we talking about?
So we're talking about Kentucky, Utah State. We're taking Utah State to win.
We are.
Okay?
Just because Connecticut's just so bad.
Over-under is 59.5.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I would go under. I don't know enough about... Here's what I know about this game. Connecticut's really bad. I know next to nothing about Utah State besides that they're in the Mountain West. So is Utah State capable of scoring 40 points? and then giving up 20, or can Utah State score, 56 points and hopes that Connecticut makes up for the 7? So I'm going to say bet the under on that. Obviously, I'm picking Utah State to win.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm picking Utah State minus the 27.5.
So the next 4 are kind of what we in the industry like to call the garbage games of the season. We have Charlotte, which is a newcomer to the FBS. Shout out the 49ers. Taking on the Owls of Florida
Nice.
Atlantic.
That's well
thank
done.
you. 7.5.
You're welcome.
So one score roughly, just over 7.5 minus 7.5. Favor to Florida Atlantic. Over under same exact 59.5. Charlotte is at Florida Atlantic. I have no idea, to be honest with you, what offense either of these teams run.
I don't either. When Lane Kiffin was at FAU, it was a high tempo, throw it round kind of offense. It's kind of like what he ran on Ole Miss. Listen, I get kind of hesitant taking the over when the number creeps up to around 60 and above, because now you're asking for both teams to score 30-plus points, or at least one team to score 40, and then, et cetera, et cetera. We're at 59. So, again, I would say take the under in this situation. It's week 1. You don't know what you're getting. I don't know whether fans will come out for FAU because it's in Boca Raton. They got nice beaches there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No pun intended. And I don't really know much about Charlotte. So it's probably going to be a pretty great game. But I would say take the under for week 1. Now, if this was week 4 and we had some data about each team's scoring ability, yeah, then it's a different story. But I'm saying take the under.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. Charlotte was in this. They're not brand new. They both teams went 3-5 in conference and 5-7 last year. And they're in the same division. So this actually is a conference game. This is CUSA.
Okay.
They're actually, funny enough, also go UTSA Roadrunners. Shout out to I forget the guy who was in our YouTube comments last week. He literally commented meep meep, and that made my day. When I read that, it made my day.
Wait, we have a YouTube comment?
We have a YouTube comment who's not our mother. Now you're going to make me go look at it.
No, I'm not going to make you go look on it, but that's amazing.
He commented meep meep, and I love it.
Did you actually love it on...
I did love it. He's
okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
So Conference USA...
Meep to him, too.
Meep to him, too. So Conference USA is starting us off at the end of the day. Conference USA is going to parlay us into some money. I don't know. I was trying to rhyme, and it didn't really work. So we're actually going to...
Take FAU because they're at home.
Yeah. No. It's definitely FAU because they're at home. Minus 290. That's the bet I'm making. And I think that's what we're going to see. Probably going to be a relatively sillily fun game. Just a fun game for fans. If you're bored at 4 p.m. on Saturday, maybe you were day drinking like I do way too often on Saturdays, and you just want to sit on the couch and veg, throw on Charlotte FAU. Even if you're not a football fan, which if you're listening to this podcast, good for you.
Or if you're at a funeral, throw
it
Charlotte
up on the projector.
On the projector.
Onto the projector.
Cast it up there. Everyone in the building watch it. Do a little picture-in-picture action.
Yeah, I mean, what is the other? There is another 4 p.m. game, which is Connecticut, Utah State.
Well, and Illinois, Wyoming. So Illinois, Wyoming, Connecticut, Utah State, Charlotte, FAU.
Oh, they all are 4 o'clock games.
They're all 4 o'clock games.
Let's take it down to the dirty South. And It's not really dirty. It's also, that's also...
Wow. That's pretty racist, but correct.
I don't know if that's so much racist.
It is because we're going to University of Texas, El Paso.
Okay.
Which is a lot of Mexicans.
Oh, that...
No, it's not because it's accurate.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. And that's why I said when I said dirty, I made it sound racist. So apologies if I offended you and you're a fan of the UTEP Miners. By the way... Roadrunner's still the best mascot in Texas. Come at me, Longhorns. They are taking on the North Texas Eagles. They're Green Eagles. I don't know if that's their thing. Anyway, again, more Conference USA. They ended the season in 3rd and 4th place in the West, respectively. 4-4 and 5-3 overall. They split a conference game, 7-6 and 6-7, respectively.
Okay, sure.
Micaiah, based off of solely the information I gave you,
yeah.
over under is spread is 1.5 points. Over under is 54.5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Miners just because I can.
I'm gonna take North Texas just because they're green.
I love it. Okay, moving on. I believe this is technically a rivalry game. We have the Nevada Wolfpack. This is like Pac-12 After Dark, except not Pac-12. Versus New Mexico State.
Yep.
This is a 10 p.m. game.
Yep.
Over-under is favoring the Wolfpack in Nevada. Spread is favoring the Wolfpack in Nevada at 8.5 points. I think New Mexico State is actually an independent team. Listen,
I think
you take Nevada to win outright.
Yeah, I think take Nevada to win, but I think Nevada can put up some points.
Yeah, that over-under is looking
always,
pretty juicy, but not at $1.10.
At 50.5. So I mean, if I was betting anything on this, knowing very little, I would probably bet the over at 50.5. Again, you're kind of risking when you bet anything week 1 of any season because you don't know. However, that's when you can get the sports books because they don't know either. So, but at 50.5, I think historically Nevada can put up some points. So I'm gonna roll with that. That's not the bet I'm making, but that's the bet I would make.
That's fair. This is the game. Sometimes I need to remember to breathe because if not, I start gagging because my body's like, you need to breathe, bro. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
all right. What are you, a frat girl? Gotta remember to breathe or I start gagging. What?
That one's gonna hurt.
What is this? Dude, Vanderbilt travels across the pond, and by across the pond we mean across half the Pacific Ocean, to take on Hawaii at Hawaii. So you have the worst team in the SEC taking on a mid-level Mountain West team on their home turf.
I think that's being nice about Hawaii.
Okay, that's fair. I thought it was nice about being Vanderbilt, saying that they're in last place. So they have...
Hawaii's favored by 8.5 points.
No. Hawaii, Vanderbilt's favored by 8.5 points.
That's
Hawaii's
disrespectful. But also it is disrespectful. Take Hawaii. Take Vanderbilt minus the points. I don't care that you're in the SEC.
So
Hawaii's
you're taking
winning this game.
You're taking Vanderbilt minus the points?
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Only because their coach came out at SEC Media Days and said that we are just a few years away from being a championship level team here at Vanderbilt. I fully believe that. So I am on with the Commodores until SEC play, and then all bets are off.
So you're picking Vanderbilt to win?
I am. However, Hawaii throws the ball round.
Listen, Hawaii is going to win this game. The question is by how much? I don't care that you're an SEC
no, I'm
team.
taking Vanderbilt to win.
I know. I'm picking Hawaii to win. The reason that the reason that Vanderbilt is favored in this game is because they play in the SEC. Only reason. Hawaii is majorly disrespected because no one's going to watch them because they're like 8 hours behind us. And they play in the Mountain West, and their stadium is falling down. So, yeah, they're not a horrible ball club, mind you, but they're not Vanderbilt bad.
Well, and their university's built on a volcano, so, there's that as well.
But the girls probably wear, no one wears anything to class. I'm pretty sure it's a nudist colony there.
Alrighty, 53.5, though. They throw a ball around, not much defense can be played. I'm going to say take that over.
I think that's fair.
I'm taking it, actually.
I would take it, too. So that brings us to the big money game. And it's
not
at all a big money game, but it's the biggest thing that we have this weekend. We already talked a little bit about it, Micaiah already gave us his kind of first take, and our thought process here is that of Northwestern hosting Nebraska in Dublin, Ireland, which I asked you earlier before we cut out in our first take why this isn't Notre Dame. They're literally named the Fighting Irish. Why aren't they going to watch some Irish fight?
Well, Notre Dame did go over there the 1 year. Penn State went over there the 1 year. So, yeah, I don't know why. Because I guess Notre Dame didn't want to. That's the best answer I can give you. But
So this is a conference game.
this is, and it is a division conference game. This is two teams in the Big Ten West. And again, as I said, kind of in the open, this is kind of Nebraska's first steps. Scott Frost is literally on his last straw. This season kind of sets up exactly how Michigan's season set up last year for them. It is head coach is on his last grace period,
Yep.
whatever.
Stroke. Yep.
Major change on one of the coordinators' side. In this case, in Nebraska's case, it's the offensive. Longtime quarterback departs. Now a new starting quarterback comes in, and you have a fan base chomping at the bit, ready to go, where you've seen glimpses of what could be, but nothing produced on the field. Nebraska 3-9 last year. All losses were a one-score game. They were on YouTube. I saw this video. They were the best 3-9 team in college football all year last year. On the other side, Northwestern. Let's not act like Northwestern's been bad forever. On the even years, they make the Big Ten title game. The past 3 times they've made it. So 2020, 2018, and 2016, they've been in the Big Ten title game. The odd years, the years right after that, they've been dead last in their division. So, it is even number. That means Northwestern's going to be good. That's all I got to say about that.
I don't hate it, and I think that's fine. You're taking Northwestern in this game? Is that what you're saying?
So, I'm going to take Nebraska. So, here's another question based on kind of our earlier conversation about our new thing. So, I'm taking Nebraska to win, but I'm taking Northwestern plus the 13.5.
Those are 2 separate numbers that you can bet. So, yeah, that's fine.
But I'm not betting on both. I'm only betting on Northwestern.
Listen, I don't say you have to bet on both. I ask you which ones of the things you would be taking.
So which one am I keeping track? Just the ones I actually bet on?
Blank you want to bet on.
All right.
Okay?
Well, that's pretty rude.
It's really not.
Okay, it's Northwestern plus the points.
Okay, he's taking Northwestern. Are they favored? They're plus. Yeah, they're favored in this game by almost 2 scores.
No, they're not.
Okay, so Nebraska's favored by almost 2 scores.
Yes.
New QB, new offensive coordinator. Thank you.
Yep.
Stroked out there. They have North Dakota the next week at home.
Yep.
So, and that is 7 days. I just looked at that. And North Dakota, pretty tough. Not as tough as the state, but still pretty tough FCS school that they have. This is a coin flip to me. Here's the reason. We're on truly neutral ground. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Probably there's going to be actually more Northwestern's alum. Just from Northwestern has a greater alumni reach than, no offense, University of Nebraska. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, is it's neutral ground. Pat Fitzgerald always has his guys ready to go.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to not look at the talent that Nebraska probably has and go and not pick Nebraska. But also, I think you're right. I think it's new QB, new offensive coordinator, coach on his last legs. I'm not going to say they're not going to go and trailblaze the rest of the season, but I think they're going to lose to Northwestern on Saturday.
I also think that the number of 50.5 over-under is very interesting to me.
I feel like that's a little low. I mean, Northwestern's only like a 21 to 24 point team.
I feel like you could bet the over on that,
and feel
again,
pretty good about it.
It's the truly neutral site game.
Yeah.
Right. It's the travel over to Ireland. I mean, the Nebraska equipment people got there Tuesday.
Wow.
Or last Tuesday. They got there last Tuesday. Your video froze again, so I'll just need you to talk to make sure
Yep.
I can still hear you.
Yep.
They got there last Tuesday. So, like, but this is a long trip, a long process for both of these teams. So, it could be a 13-16 type of game, or defense doesn't travel well, and it's a 25
You're both
30 type game.
I think you're both in the central time zone, so jet lag isn't going to be as big of a deal. I think Northwestern can definitely fly straight to Dublin. I'm not sure if Nebraska's going to have to make a stop. Yes, I'm talking about airplane travel when breaking down a college football game right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like Northwestern's probably going to be there compared to Nebraska.
So here's a great question I have for you, bud.
Yeah.
I picked 4 picks
Yeah.
with what we were talking about, okay? And just so everyone knows, I have Illinois, Wyoming over 43.5, Utah State minus the points, Vanderbilt, Hawaii over 53.5, and Northwestern plus the points.
Yeah.
Do I parlay that, or do I do individual bets?
I parlay everything because it's more fun, and FanDuel doesn't care how much you spend on it, so I could put 25 cents on a parlay. And
well, you can also put 25 cents on everything else.
Yeah, I mean most of these. Okay, so most of these are now we're this is really great podcasting. I don't know, like at the end of the day, if I put 25 cents, I'm gonna win $1 at Northwestern. Like. Just to go through it for people, like you could do either. You could do both. Technically, you could bet on all games individually and then place a parlay
and
bet.
then parlay it, and then when you hit all, then you're really rich, I guess.
At the end of the day, I'm going to be just placing the parlay because it's more fun and you
Sure.
have more of a click value. For those of you keeping track at home. I basically followed Micaiah's suggestions. We have Illinois against Wyoming, Utah against Kentucky. These are Utah State. First names are the ones who we have winning. Florida Atlantic against Charlotte, UTEP against North Texas, Nevada against New Mexico State, Hawaii. Well, I have Hawaii at Vanderbilt. Micaiah has Vanderbilt beating Hawaii, and then Northwestern beating Nebraska. If you bet $1 on FanDuel Sportsbook, you will win $79. So,
All right.
so we're going to go ahead and hit place bet here, and off we go. That has taken up a solid 30 minutes of time.
37 minutes and 35 seconds.
We are... Oh, that's nice.
What are you most excited about for the new college football season?
You know, it's just the love of you play to win the game. It's the love of the game to me. It's fall. Honestly, I have fallen more and more in love with fall because of college football. It's a
You're
great
welcome.
time for me. Yeah,
is.
thanks. I've definitely flipped from spring to fall. I'm a fall boy now. Next week, there's not a bad game on the slate. By the way, North Carolina plays Florida A&M, and UNLV plays Idaho State. Those are 2 FCS schools we don't care about. But I'm looking at the Thursday, Tennessee Ball State. That's going to be a fun game. Pittsburgh, West Virginia. That's in Pittsburgh. We already talked about that. That's the backyard brawl. Okay.
Do you have...
Penn State, Purdue? Like, I'm just going. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
How can you not get excited about that?
Exactly. No, that's Robert has off next Friday, so he's going to be watching college football Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. And then there are games Sunday, Monday as well because it is Labor Day weekend in college football. A few years back, finally took advantage of doing that. My question to you is now, and it'll kind of be like this TikTok thing, this TikTok trend. What is a proclamation you have right now? Make it so we can run it back at the end of the season. Right now for the season. and I'll go first to give you an example. If Michigan loses 3 or more games this year, they need to fire Jim Harbaugh. I know you just gave him an extension, but it's the roller coaster stops now. Okay? Big time programs, everything I'm reading has, from ESPN to Fox Sports to the Michigan Insiders to some little dinky worstest podcast on the world.
There you go.
There it is. Has Michigan not taking a step back? Not saying that they'll beat Ohio State or make the college football playoff, but they are going to have max 2 losses, and every game's going to be close, and they're going to look good, and their offense and their defense is going to look good. And that's across every single platform I've ever read. So if they lose 3+ games, that means probably 1 to Ohio State and then 2 trip-ups along the way. Enough of this up and down. No, not doing it anymore. Find someone to stabilize this ship and start trending this way, because in order now, you made the college football playoff. In order to win a college football playoff game and make the natty, you need better recruiting. And how do you do that? Consistency.
Even if that's consistency with as a 4-loss team. Consistency is consistency is consistency is consistency. That is what it is. I can't disagree with anything you said, honestly.
Do you have another proclamation?
If UTSA doesn't win the national championship, I will cut off my foot.
Okay.
I'm joking. UTSA is not going to win the national championship. I think the SEC is going to look very stupid at the end of the season.
Ooh. Please do. Elaborate.
I think you're poised at both your brand new shiny toys that you got to completely underperform this year. No offense to be fair, I don't think that they could be. I'm thinking like worst case scenario here. You have your shiny toys could possibly, neither of them could touch the conference championship. Baylor and Oklahoma State, probably not Oklahoma State, so probably Baylor, are that good that they can fight, that they could win, no issue. So at best case scenario, you're looking at Texas versus Baylor for the Big 12 championship, and if Baylor wins that, oh boy, you're talking about accepting 2 new schools who probably at best, I'm not going to lie to you, are going to finish 2nd and 3rd in their division. And then you have all of your other schools, including all the crap that we don't even talk about at the bottom. Yeah, Tennessee, you landed the 5-star recruit for 2023. Yeah, and you're going to do what with him? So you have all these teams that are in the basement. You have Georgia, who Mekhi is not sold on. And then you have Alabama, who everybody knows now they're going to steamroll over literally anybody you put in front of them. So you're going to have you're going to be a one-team you're going to be a one-team conference. Everybody loves college football in the South. Awesome, great. But if Michigan wins, goes undefeated and wins, which would be best case scenario for Big Ten, mind you. Sorry, Ohio State. Best case scenario.
Yeah.
And they pick up Notre Dame plus another rando and Washington and Oregon. Oh, all of a sudden, bye-bye SEC.
Plus another rando. I love it. No, because you're absolutely right. The points you have just made are completely valid. I just found it Notre Dame plus another rando. It's just excellent podcasting.
Give me Colorado. Give me Boulder.
All around. Stanford. You could have gone Stanford. It's the other school in California.
Yeah, but they haven't been good since Andrew Luck.
So the worst case scenario for the SEC is the best case scenario for the Big 12. Because if you remember a few weeks ago, I said best case scenario for the Big 12, a team outside of Oklahoma and Texas wins the Big 12 so that it tells TV people that they're going to still be viable even after these two leave the conference.
And it's bad it's bad juju for the SEC, especially if they lose, because they're locked into their TV contract for, I think, like 7 more years at $1 billion.
Oh no, it just starts next year.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Or I'm sorry, 2024.
Language.
It starts 2024.
But that's a $1 billion, and the Big Ten just scheduled a $7 billion deal.
Big Ten is definitely
Mind
trying
you,
to.
the Premier League, which is the biggest, I always put this in context for everybody. The Premier League, which is the biggest sports organization in the world, has a $10 billion contract. Half of that in England, half of that internationally. $10 billion. The Big Ten, I get that we're separated by $3 billion, and that's a lot, but 3 is a lot smaller than 9. And SEC is supposed to be the Premier League?
Well, the SEC is making $1 billion per year.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's $1 billion per year.
Yeah, but isn't it a longer deal than the...
It is. It's less money over the lifetime of the deal, but it's still. I think it's a 7-year, $8 billion deal. I'm looking now.
Yeah, I don't... All I know is that if the SEC needs Texas and Oklahoma, it's weird. The SEC needs Texas and Oklahoma to do well, and Georgia and like Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Texas A&M. Well, not even Texas A&M. Texas A&M's the 2-loss football team, maybe less. Texas A&M's going to do good. They need a non-Texas A&M team to do really good.
10 for 3. 10 for 3, Bill.
10 for 3. Oh,
Bill.
dear Lord.
Yeah. So
worse.
still, your 3 is still a lot less than 7.
Which is a
Your
lot
point
less
was-
than... Which is closer... 3 is closer
to 1 than it is 7.
than it is 7, and 7's closer to 10 than it is 3. And that's my point, is...
And that is math,
And that
ladies
is
and gentlemen.
It's the math podcast. We were homeschooled. But that's my point, is... I'm comparing them at this point, and me and Robert talked about this a little bit last week. My point is, we're now comparing basically, like 718 to 24-year-olds, well, really 17 to 24-year-olds, to a bunch of grown-ass men on a bunch of random fields in England. Like, understand, we're talking about 14 teams, right? That's how many the Big Ten is. We're talking about 14 teams being valued the same as basically the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how much money is... That's why the number one program watched worldwide is the Super Bowl. Football will always be king, no matter where you put it on.
Except for the World Cup.
And I
The World
guess
Cup.
soccer...
The World
And
Cup
I guess
out.
and soccer has a bigger reach on people, but the money goes to the football. I mean, and it's just gonna how it's gonna
Right
be.
now, right. Right now it does. But the thing is in the past week we've seen a power shift in the sports industry from for-profit organizations with staffs the size that most small businesses are envious of, making more money than Fortune 500 companies
Yeah.
with half the overhead from a people perspective. And that's going to 14 non-for-profit organizations.
Yeah.
That's number one job is higher education. You can't write this.
Yeah.
In the next, we'll say the next 10 years, right? If we're still doing this podcast in 2032, in the next 10 years, we're going to be talking about how the Michigan Football Club is playing against the Ohio State Football Club, or whatever the frick they're named at, and the TV rights that the Big 12, the Big 10, or the Western Conference or the Suck Our Dick Conference has, sorry, but it's funny, is making more money than a sport that's been around for twice as long.
I highly anticipate.
You can see, dude, I just see the 30 for 30 now.
No,
which it won't even
I-
be 30 for 30
I
about
fully-
corruption.
I
and
fully anticipate
collapses.
in 20 years the football programs at these colleges not to be linked to the colleges anymore.
They're not going to be able to.
So you will have the University of Michigan, however, they will not be associated with the university.
Yep.
It will be the Michigan Wolverines. They play at the Big House. They play, on campus or whatever. All the players on the
It's
team
going to be like
do
the
not
football
go to
team,
that school.
The football
Yeah.
team is going to be like the college bookstore. It's going to be a business that the school owns.
Correct, but none of the kids go to
Or maybe
and
they
probably
do.
None of the kids go to that college.
Some of them will, some of them won't. And
Yeah.
it might be a development league for the NFL, or they might be competing with the NFL. You might have 36-year-olds
yeah.
playing with 18-year-olds.
Let's not take it that far. No, I don't.
You don't
I-
think
I
so?
don't- no, I don't think so.
You're
I
telling
think,
me you don't think a $7 billion a year conference can take on the NFL?
Okay, so
Donald
it's $1
Trump
billion,
just
$7 billion over the lifetime of the deal.
Yeah.
It's a $1 billion a year conference.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
The NFL's deal isn't as rich as that.
Sure, it is.
It's close. I guarantee you it's close. But what I'm telling you is the Big Ten, over the lifetime of the contract, is competing with the Premier League. Well, it's really a per year because it's $1 billion a year over 7 years. Premier League brings in, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, $10 billion. No, those
You
are
ready
two
for this?
separate leagues. Yeah.
You
How
ready
much
for this?
money does the NFL bring in?
All right. NFL signed a new media's rights deal. This is back in 2021, May.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just 1 year ago. With CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, and
ESPN,
Amazon collectively.
Yeah.
11 years, $110 billion.
$110 billion?
Yes. So they are, on average, $10 billion a year in media rights.
Well, we just went down a rabbit hole here.
Well, your point is still valid that the amount of money going into college sports is unlike anything we've ever seen before. However, it's never going to eclipse the NFL because if you go watch, and it's really interesting to do, and I really encourage everyone to kind of go out there and do it if you have it. And so, Simeon, I'll really talk to you. You'll watch this weekend and next weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you will watch most of the college game, and you'll be like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing." Then that third weekend of college football, so what will be considered week 2, you go watch that. We'll be in Michigan. We'll watch that game. If you watch those games Sunday, which is week 1 of the NFL, you will see the talent discrepancy. It's the weirdest thing because you're just like, "This is great football. This is awesome." All right, college players are so close to NFL players, and then you go watch NFL players play, and you're like, oh, that's why there is a $10 billion difference in media rights deal per year.
Yeah, okay. But to be fair, you're talking about experience level. Nothing can out-teach experience. You're talking about...
and athletically, the fine details...
Yeah. But I'm saying if you let NFL caliber players play for some odd reason, play in college football, you're going to see a lot more parity, and you're going to all of a sudden you're going to have teams who it's all about the coaching. Sorry. Okay, so I had to look it up.
If that happens, I
Premier
probably
League,
won't.
I don't know when this. Maybe in 30 years. I wish I had a date on this article. It's recent. I know it's recent. It's at least 2021 recent. So the ESPN deal for the NFL, and I don't know how long this I don't know how long this contract is for, but for a year, it's $1.9 billion. The contract for the NFL. For ESPN.
For what?
The ESPN portion of the TV rights deals for the NFL. $1.9 billion. Sky Sports, which is the Premier League, $1.2 billion a year.
Yeah.
Now, that's England's TV rights. So I think overall I think that's a 5-year deal, so it's a $5 billion a year. NFL, $1.9 billion. That's $5 million a year. What was it? $3 billion a year? It was something astronomically. It was something astronomical. And then you have $1 billion a year being the Big Ten.
Yeah. So you're right.
So it's close. It's a lot closer than even I thought it was.
You mean the Big Ten to soccer?
The Big Ten to soccer and the Big Ten to the NFL. Now, the NFL has more money spread out, but...
Right, but that is only one network. The Big Ten to one network, and again, that is one game per week on one network.
One network. That's Monday nights.
Yeah, no, I mean, correct. The money is... You can find any number to validate any argument, as I'm sure everyone knows. But yes, college football is heading down a path of a trajectory where you got to be careful. It needs a governing body that's outside the NCAA, which I think you and Robert talked about last week. Everyone go listen to that episode. And you're going to have to find a way to keep the integrity of college football to where they are still student athletes and to where the games mean something. Me and Robert were talking about it. Do you expand the playoff? What's nice about college football is if Nebraska Northwestern, you lose in week 0, right? 12:30 kickoff. You're the first game of the year. The loser of that game probably is not making the college football, has no shot to make the college football playoff anymore. I mean, now obviously you're allowed one loss because there are 4 teams. In the NFL, you can lose the first 4 games and still make the playoffs. You're not doing that in college football, so you have to keep the integrity of that every week matters. Like in the NFL, every week matters, but every week doesn't really matter. In college football, every game matters, every minute matters, every inch. JT was short. Every touchdown score, it matters. So they're going to walk a fine line. And I'll tell you what else I'm excited about week 0. Us to stop talking about the future of college football and just enjoy it. I'm tired of talking about the future. Let's talk about the games. Let's watch the games. Let's hoop. Let's holler. Let's get a little day drink on. And let's go from there.
Well, as always, ladies and gentlemen, we're ending there. This has been the 4th and 1 podcast, anchor.fm/4th and 1. Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week for week 1.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals.